What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, I'm going to give my review of Fargo Season 3, Episode 4, titled The Narrow Escape Problem. Alright, so before I get into all of, the review and everything, I just want to say a couple things real quick. I am loving the VM Varga character. This season is just getting better and better every episode. I absolutely love it. Not that I didn't love the other two seasons, but I think this one, and I know I'm only 4 episodes in, but I think it might be my favorite, and that's saying a lot because season 1 was amazing. And VM Varga is definitely already one of my favorite characters in the Fargo universe. Who would ever thought we would have a universe or this awesome TV series based around Fargo of all things? Alright, I want to talk about the opening scene first and mix things up a little bit because it was so great. I just want to talk about that in the beginning. So when we hear the narration, I'm like, that sounds familiar. And then it goes on and I'm like, that sounds like Billy Bob Thornton. And then it goes on, I'm like, could that be Billy Bob Thornton? And then by the end of the opening scene, I'm like, yeah, that was Billy Bob Thornton. But just to be sure, I went on IMDb and checked, and sure enough, it's Billy Bob Thornton. Doesn't surprise me because I'm pretty sure Martin Freeman narrated an episode of season 2. So this might be a theme that they're doing where maybe next season, the actress who played Molly Salverson, maybe she'll narrate an episode or something. I don't know. But the whole narration was great, talking about the different instruments, the different sounds with the different characters, and the animal that represents them was awesome and mind-blowing and funny, and I loved it. First, you get those awesome parallels between the Stussies, where you see Emmett, nice and clean, getting his stuff together, slipping his shoe on with the shoehorn and everything, and then and then you see Ray and he's all, disheveled and terrible looking as always, and he's shaving off the mustache, and you're wondering why he's doing that. He's all liver spotted and bald, and then you see him trying to put on his shoe, and he can't get it on, no shoehorn or nothing, and he's struggling to get the boot on, and he finally gets it on. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. The parallels to the two characters say everything about who they are. One of them lives a pretty, clean, pristine life, Emmett. The other one, Ray, lives a rough, hard, dirty, kind of miserable life. And that's just all expressed in those two scenes. And I thought it was amazing cinematography and editing, and it was just beautiful. The whole opening scene. And then we get VM Vargo, which was a strange scene to say the least, okay? He's got a ton of food, and he's well, first off, he's the wolf. And if you hear his music, it's the same music that we hear with Scott Farkus from A Christmas Story. Yes, Scott Farkus from A Christmas Story. And notice, Scott Farkus has messed up teeth. They even mention it. And so does VM Vargas got the messed up teeth. The parallels there are crazy. Scott Farkus is the bad guy. VM Vargas is the bad guy. I just love the choice of the music on top of all. And that's what made me think of A Christmas Story. I wouldn't have thought of that movie when watching Fargo unless something sparked it, It was the music. Telling you, go back and watch A Christmas Story and then watch that scene and you'll go, oh, it's the same exact music. And he's the wolf, which, if you remember, wolves came into a play in season 2 and in season 1. Billy Bob Thornton sees a wolf, and Hansi sees a wolf, and they're both like wolf-like characters, and they're mysterious, and they're not to be messed with. They're vicious. They're killers, and they know how to survive. So now we get a blatant saying that here's your next villain of this season, VM Varga, who is a wolf, just like the other two villains from the other 2 seasons were wolves. Love it. And I don't remember if there's any wolves in the movie. I got to go back and check that. And then we get Gloria, simple, just driving in the car, contemplating, thinking, the typical shot, I think, of the female cops in the Fargo universe. So, all right. So let's get going. I just wanted to say that opening scene was so good, and it said so much about all the characters. Even Gloria, who's just sitting there thinking. That's who she is, a thinker, a contemplator. VM Varga devouring all the food like a wolf. He's a wolf. You know what I mean? Like, and even go back to the bird, the pretty bird singing, and then the duck, the ugly duckling, the duck version, and that's Emmett and Ray. I just love it. And I think Gloria was the grandfather or something like that. And that's because she's... Oh, no. Cy. They have Cy playing with some trucks or something. And he's also... he's, I think, the grandfather. I forgot what Gloria's title was. But all the titles fit. It's so good, so good. I think I'm going to do an episode just about the title sequence from this this one. I'll do a video about this episode. Sorry. All right. Let's try and wrap this up. I already took 5 minutes of your time just on the opening scene. Can't you tell how excited I am and how much I love this stuff? Get excited over there. Alright, we have Emmett and Cy try to sort things out. Nikki and Ray track down some collateral, and Gloria learns more about Maurice. So let's talk about Gloria first, because that's the quickest. So she didn't learn as much as I thought she was going to learn about Maurice. All she really learned was that he picked out a name from the phone book to kill Pops, but he's also got a parole officer with the same last name, Stussy. So she's starting to connect the dots, and the wheels are turning. Goes back to the opening scene. She's thinking the whole episode, and she doesn't believe Cy for 1 minute, and which was a great scene. I'll talk about that in a second when I talk about Cy. Oh, actually, that'll be my transition. Just give me a second. So she doesn't believe Cy. You see her thinking constantly, always thinking. I don't understand why none of the electronic stuff works for her, but this show takes place in 2010. This was a time when technology was becoming more part of things like bathrooms and stuff. So I don't know, maybe that's part of it, where she's just one of these people that's rather live in the old days. That's the point they're trying to make. She'd rather live the way times were than the way times are going, I guess. I don't know. But that's all we get is really her investigation. And in typical Fargo fashion, she's... in her approach is very subtle, but her face, Carrie Coons is doing a wonderful job, because her face says so much, just like all the cops in Fargo, all the main character cops, where their face and mannerisms speak so much to that they really know more than they're letting on to, and the actors and the directors do a great job at portraying that on screen. So that's really all we get from Gloria. She teams up with another cop that's working the accident from when, in episode 2, when Cy went nuts and with his Hummer, or his bright yellow Hummer all over the place. Was it yellow? Yeah, I think so. Maybe it was black. I don't remember. We get all of that, and all good performances, all good writing. Nothing really standout-ish about Gloria's story other than her conversation with Cy, which I'll get to now. We'll talk about Emmett and Cy. First, we'll do Cy. So we see right away when Cy walks, right from the whole jump, even in his beginning opening scene, how he sees them. They have Varga's boys, the Ukrainian and the Chinese dude, the Asian dude. They have a key panel on the door, like a code, so nobody can get in there. So, you could tell how uncomfortable he is and all of that with how at home they are. And then when his story actually starts this episode and he walks in with the coat, the cop is there. Just the look on the Russian, the Ukrainian, whatever he is, the look on that guy's face. And then the Asian dude comes out and the look on him, and he just Cy reminded me so much of William H. Macy from Fargo in this whole scene. Even like the interrogation, the questioning of him, he seemed very much like William H. Macy, where very guilty, very abrupt, very all right, uncomfortable, and get out of my office, right? Wonderful job though in that whole scene with that cop. What's her name? Rodriguez or something? I forget. But nice scene there. It would have been nice to see Carrie Coons doing that. I might have even just said a minute ago that she was the one doing it, but she interrogates Ray in this episode, which was a great scene. Her and Ray, and the putting together the dots was great. So then we get Cy, really skittish. He doesn't own up to the Hummer thing when he should. He's obviously got all this illegal stuff going on. Does he really need to be investigated right now? Like, he should have just said he got, he was angry at Ray over Ray pressing about the stamps, or something. But he keeps it from the cop, which is only going to put him in more hot water later. So, we get that. And then we get Emmett dealing with VM Varga at his house, which was such a great scene. You know what it reminded me of? Not as scary, but it reminded me of Black Mass with Johnny Depp and that dinner scene and how uncomfortable you felt and how scary Johnny Depp was in that moment. And you really felt a smaller version of that from VM Varga. But once again, it's those Coen Brothers parallels, not that they made Black Mass, but they're parallels to other characters where VM Varga has shades of some of, like, maybe, first off, Billy Bob Thornton's character, and maybe even a little Hansi in The Mysterious, and then harken back to the movie where, he's, I wouldn't call him like Carl, but more like the Russian dude in that one, Peter Stormare's character, with the pancake guy, I like to call him. Or, a character like this, or even like, Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. So you always get those parallels with the Coen Brothers stuff. I love it. So we get that, and then we find out that Varga isn't just trying to launder money like I thought, or run his organization secretly through the parking lot business. But he actually wants to be a partner on paper, like on the board and stuff, which is crazy. And I can see Emmett's reluctance. I don't know what they're going to do to try to get out of this. I still think they're going to try and hire some sort of other criminals to deal with Varga, and it's not going to go well. That's what I personally think. But, so that's what we get with Emmett and Varga, and that was just a great scene. I love Varga. He's so great. I don't know what's up with the bulimic and the throwing up and the bulimia, I meant to say, and throwing up and all that stuff. I don't know what's up with all that and the way he eats and everything that I don't get. I don't get the teeth yet. I know that bulimia from throwing up so much does cause damage to the teeth. So I'm wondering if somehow that's why his mouth looks like that. But I'm sure we'll find out. I don't think they'll leave loose threads. I don't think either season of Fargo really gave us any loose threads. Both of them, I think, wrapped up their own story nicely. So, just as the movie does, wraps up the story and doesn't really leave you hanging with anything else. So that's what we get from Emmett and VM Varga. And then we move to Ray and Nikki in The Collateral, which was also a great scene where we see Ray dress up like... We find out why he was shaving his mustache in the opening scene. We see him dress up like Emmett. Ray dress up like Emmett, right. And he goes in to try and get some money. He ends up getting 10 grand and ashes for a dog. I don't know what that's all about. I'm sure we'll get in. At first, I thought the ashes were like the dad's ashes or something. But then we find out later it was for a dog. I'm sure we'll find out eventually, what's up with that. So we get some great stuff there. And Ray gets fired behind not telling the truth about Nikki. I mean, I understand why he doesn't tell the truth, he's a good guy. He's not a con man or a liar or a thief. So, he doesn't want to do these types of things. So he doesn't want to lie to these guys. So he tells them, loses his job over it, which I felt terrible about. That scene where he's in the bar, I just felt so bad for him with the box of all his belongings. Like, I just wanted to pat him on the back and buy him a drink, like, honestly. And I don't get why he stood up Nikki, though. I don't get that. I don't understand at all why he stood up Nikki. I would imagine she has the money at the meeting and stuff, so I don't know what's going on there. Because I figured by getting fired, he's accepted the fact that he's going to be with Nikki. I don't know. I missed something there, I think, or I'm forgetting something. So maybe when I do my predictions, I'll just throw in a side note there and correct myself on this one. So, I mean, that's pretty much it as far as storyline, what we got for the episode. It was eventful. It was fun. It was always well acted and well written, and I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, the meaning of the title, the what is it? The narrow escape problem. Sorry, the next episode is the law of the narrow escape problem. So both of them, if you look at all the characters, they're in a narrow situation, a situation that they don't really have a lot to work with or a lot to wiggle out of, and it's how they're going to deal with that problem is what we're really dealing with. None of them essentially actually deal with the problem, but I mean, you know, like come up with a solution, but they're dealing with the problem in the moment, you know? So yeah, I mean, that's what we have. We have Ray inside dealing with the VM Varga and the cops now, and all VM Varga's tough guys. I have to call him VM Varga. I don't just like calling him Varga for some reason. And so we have that. That's their narrow. They can't make that narrow escape from that problem. And then you have Ray and Nikki and the problem that they incur. Well, Ray incurs really, not so much Nikki. Where he has no way to get out of. You know, it's like there's a narrow escape. I mean, I guess they all narrowly escape something. I don't know. And then you have Gloria, where she's really putting together the putting together the pieces as best she can. The episode standout, I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna give it to VM Varga. I don't want to give it to him every single week. I really don't want to give it to him every single week, but he was fantastic in this episode. I think the first week I actually gave it to Ewan McGregor, but maybe I wasn't given the episode standouts then. I'm not sure. And as far as productions go, it's all about the cinematography and editing in this one. The cinematography and editing in this episode was fantastic. It really sucked you in. My favorite moment of the entire episode, or the favorite thing in the episode, was the opening sequence. I really loved it. Everything from the narration to the music to the way they explained the characters, the acting, the performances. It was all great, all wonderful, wonderfully written, directed, shot, all that. So that opening sequence was definitely my favorite. My least favorite thing about the episode, I'm gonna say it was nothing. I got none. Sorry. I really want to come up with things I don't like about this show, man. But this one in Better Call Saul, it's really hard for me to find things to complain about. As far as a rating go, this was a good episode. I'm going to say 4.5 out of 5. It was near perfect. I would say the only thing that... 4.7 out of 5. The only thing that would have made this perfect was like maybe a little bit of action. Some sort of, shoot 'em up, bang, bang stuff maybe. That's it. Other than that, it was a really, really solid episode. I really enjoyed it a lot. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. This is a show. This is how you know a show is doing a good job. When you can't wait for the next episode, but you have to wait for the next episode. So all you do is think about and talk about what's going to happen in the next episode. That's great storytelling. If this was a book, that's what you call a page turner. You want to turn this page, but sometimes it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you can't turn that next page. So let's close the book till tomorrow. But I can't stop thinking about the book and trying to figure out what's going on. That's what we get with Fargo. I absolutely love it. I hope you guys are enjoying this season as much as I am. Sound off down below. Let me know what you think about this season or this past episode. Always let me know what you think about this video, this review, whether I'm doing a good job, a bad job, or anything in between. And be sure to like, share, subscribe if you like the content. Helps out the channel in a big way, and it also boosts my confidence level a bit. And lets me know that I'm doing things good. And yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you so much. Sorry it was long again. I'm really trying to get these down, and I feel like even at 18 minutes, I feel like I'm leaving stuff out, or I'm not talking about everything, or I'm not giving everything a fair turn. So I apologize for that. I'm getting the groove. I'm trying to get the hang of it. Thank you so much for hanging in there. You guys have a great day. Thanks again for watching for probably the 8 millionth time. And it's always appreciated. Always. You guys have a great day. I will see you next time.